How's it going, guys, and welcome to Gaming Evolved. I'm Shifty Cow, and in today's video we have another loadout for you guys. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to smack that like button down below. Let's try and get this video to 25 likes, but anyways, let's hop into it. So this loadout comes from Mr. Lolman911, and we're going to be using the CBJ with a coyote, no accessory, a suppressor, and an ergo grip. Then for our secondary, we're going to be going with the G18. This is a pretty awesome weapon, and we're just going to be running it naked. Then for our two gadgets, we're going to go with the SMA and repair torch, and honestly, that's just kind of my personal favorite, so didn't have to really do anything different there. And then finally, for our field upgrade, we're going to be running with the offensive field upgrade. So in this post, he says, try to play on rogue transmission, try staying around the D point for maximizing action, but move around just as well. Repair tool snipers and blow stuff up, use the nail gun to bully people, and stay stealthy. Now, in terms of running a PDW with the engineer class, I actually really enjoy it. A lot of people just go with carbines, and I definitely agree that if you're going for a try-hard game and you're really just trying to do well, that's definitely something you want to consider throwing on, something like the ACWR. You're really just going to get a little bit more range and be a bit more accurate overall. So that's something that I'd normally recommend if you want to actually do really, really well. But honestly, the PDWs are a ton of fun to run with, and the CBJ is probably my favorite out of all of them, because first of all, it was originally utter garbage. Like, this thing used to be absolutely useless a couple patches ago. Luckily, DICE came back to it, gave it a lot of love, and now I would say it's probably one of the best PDWs in the game. It's got a massive magazine size of like 50 bullets, and really that's its biggest advantage. It's overall a pretty decent weapon. It's got pretty standard fire rate, damage, all that type of stuff is pretty standard for a PDW, but simply because it has such a massive magazine size, it makes it a really awesome weapon. So definitely had no problem running around with this. I did have to actually unlock the coyote sight because I only used it a little bit before I moved back to the ACR and started unlocking all the carbines, but overall an awesome choice for a primary weapon. Moving on to the G18, this is definitely one of the most popular weapons to use if you're going for a pistol-only round. Like, if you hop into one of those, you pretty much exclusively find something like the G18 or the Deagle, and there's a reason for this, because this thing at close range absolutely shreds. It's pretty much the AEK of pistols, and that's saying something, because the AEK is just a beast of a gun, and so the G18 does really well, especially if you were to run something like the AEK and the G18, you would be pretty much unstoppable up close. So I actually got most of the gameplay on a pistol-only server just because the G18 is really good, but a lot of times I have a really bad habit of not actually using my secondary, and I'll just kind of find some cover, reload, and then use my primary. But in a couple occasions on some normal servers, I did find a little bit of use for the G18 because I was just in a really panicked situation. I could just whip this out, shred who was ever in front of me, find some cover, and then reload my primary. So it's definitely an awesome panic weapon solely because of its insane fire rate. Like, I think it's either 1,000 or it might actually be 1,200. I have actually checked it recently. But anyways, guys, it's just an insane pistol, and the one thing that I would want to change is simply to throw on something like a suppressor, because this gun has probably the highest recoil of any weapon in Battlefield 4, and because of that, you're not going to use it for anything past medium range. So by throwing on a suppressor, you're really not going to be losing anything because its accuracy or its muzzle velocity really isn't going to matter when you're only 10 feet away from someone. So honestly, a suppressor is a really good choice, especially for staying off that minimap and keeping to that stealthy type of tactic that you really want to run with this class. So overall, a really solid secondary, and I'm probably going to actually start using this a lot more because I have like 5 kills before I actually started this challenge, and it's a really solid secondary, so definitely going to be using that a bit more. So moving on to the SMA, this is probably the most popular rocket launcher in Battlefield 4 right now, and for good reason. It's got a very decent muzzle velocity, it flies a lot faster than the RPG or the SRA, and honestly, people really don't like to use the Igla or the Stinger because really, if you use those, it's pretty scrubby and it's not very fulfilling to take down helicopters with. Also, experienced pilots or people in jets are just going to fly behind cover, wait until their countermeasures are back, and really it's not going to do anything to them. So the SMA, RPG, and SRA are my personal favorites, and really I've been kind of bouncing around for the past couple of weeks deciding which one to use, because DICE has gone back, done a couple adjustments to the SRA so it's not completely useless, but really I'm not sure if I have the patience to actually relearn this system and try and completely get good with it again. So probably going to stick with either the SMA or the RPG. And honestly, when you compare the SMA to the RPG, there's really not a lot that the RPG has going for it. It has a lot more drop. I think the bullets go a little bit slower. It might have more splash damage or like damage against tanks and stuff like that, but really the SMA just felt far superior in every single way. So as for actually using the SMA, it was a ton of fun. I mostly focused on things like tanks, LAVs, occasionally Amtraks and things like that, because those tend to be really pesky when you're trying to own the objectives and control the map. So really I focused on those, and then if there was a helicopter flying over or transports or jets, I would occasionally take shots at those, but mostly I would focus on ground vehicles and then also infantry who were hiding behind cover or were just kind of too out of range for the CBJ to take care of. So this is a really solid loadout. I greatly enjoyed using it. And finally, the repair torch. I only got a couple of kills with this because, you know, it's kind of hard to get someone completely oblivious to actually zap them to death. But really, it's an awesome tool, definitely something that's fun to do when you're bored, and this is overall a really nice loadout. So anyways guys, if you do want your loadout to be featured in our next video, be sure to tell us down in the comments below, give us some tactics, what class, what type of attachments, all that type of stuff would be greatly appreciated. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smack that like button below, and if you do want to see our next video, be sure to smack that subscribe button as it really helps us out. But anyways guys, until next time, stay buttery.